Hi, I'm Ms. Matsuoka, and I'm going to teach you about how to work with properties of parabolas again, but this time it's with the equations. You're not given a graph this time, you're given an equation. We're going to find pretty much the same things, the axis of symmetry, the vertex, if it's a maximum or minimum, but we're also going to put it in vertex form. So let me show you what I mean by these things. So these are the steps that we're going to be going through. The first thing is we're going to find A, B, and C. A general equation will look like this. So the A is multiplying the x squared, the B is multiplying the x, and the C is just the number that's like hanging out there. Second thing you're going to do is you're going to plug A and B in, at least, into this equation right here, x equals negative b over 2a, and you're going to simplify that, and that's to get the axis of symmetry. After that, you're going to find the vertex. So to find the vertex, you plug in this, so whatever you got here, you're going to plug that in to the equation of the parabola. That's going to give us our y value. So remember, the vertex is the point, so the x-coordinate is the axis of symmetry, the y-coordinate is whatever you get here in step 3. Step 4 is to see if it's a maximum or minimum. It's going to be a maximum if it's negative, so if A is negative, it's going to be a maximum. If A is positive, it's going to be a minimum. And so here, we're going to look at step 5, that's our last step. We're looking to see, to put it in vertex form. So putting it in vertex form, we're really putting the vertex in this formula right here. So we put in A, and H and K are really just the x and y coordinates of the vertex. So we're going to go ahead and look, we're just going to see a couple examples on how this is done. So here's our first example. So number 1, we see that we're looking at A, B, and C. Remember, A is the number that multiplies x squared. So in this case, x squared is by itself, so A is 1, because it's 1 times x squared, it's that invisible 1. So this is 1 right here. B, there is no value that's just x. So because there's no value that's just x, our B value is 0, because it's like 0x. Lastly, we look at our C value. The number that's just out here is negative 4. So we take that sign with the number. So it's negative 4 right here. We plug it into our formula. Remember, our formula was x equals negative b over 2a. So negative, my b is 0, over 2a. So 2 times 1. So this gives me negative 0 over 2. Well, 0 divided by anything is just 0. So we get 0 here. So in total we get x equals 0. So that's my axis of symmetry. Next is my vertex. Remember, I plug in my axis of symmetry, so I'm plugging in 0 in for x here. So I'm looking at my equation of the parabola, I'm plugging this in for x, and that's my y-coordinate of the vertex. So it goes y equals, it's going to be 0 squared minus 4. Well, 0 squared is just 0, minus 4 is negative 4. So that becomes negative 4 here. So in total I have 0, right, because I'm taking my axis of symmetry right here for my x-coordinate, comma, negative 4 is my y-coordinate, is what I just got here. Okay, next thing we're going to look at is it a maximum or a minimum? Remember, if it's a maximum, that means A is negative. If it's a minimum, that means A is positive. A here was positive 1, so this is a minimum. Last thing is we're putting it in vertex form. Remember, that was that y equals with the A on the outside. A is 1, so we don't really need to put an A on the outside. And then x, we have a 0 here. So you could either put plus or minus 0, it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to put minus 0 squared. And then I put plus k. Well, k is my y value here, that's negative 4, so that's just going to be minus 4, so that is my vertex form right there. Alright, let's move on to the second example. Okay, on this one, A is going to be negative 2, because negative 2 is multiplying the x squared, so that's negative 2 right there. B is going to be negative 8, because negative 8 is what's multiplying the x. And there's no number that's by itself here, so C is 0 in this case. Alright, now for the axis of symmetry. So I'm looking at x equals negative b over 2a Okay, a negative times a negative is a positive, so this is a positive 8 over 2 times negative 2 is a negative 4. I can reduce this because 8 divided by 4 is 2, so this is negative 2 in total. So x equals negative 2 is my axis of symmetry. Now let's look at the vertex. Remember, for the vertex, I'm plugging this into my equation here. So I get y equals, it's going to be negative 2, and then negative 2 squared minus 8 times negative 2. So remember, it's just going in for x, and I'm just using my order of operations now. So I want to square it before I multiply. That's really important. So I square before I multiply. This becomes negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4, and then I multiply by that negative 2 on the outside. So that's going to be negative 8. Okay, negative 8 times negative 2 gives me a positive 16. So plus 16 here. In total, this is going to give me positive 8. So that's my y coordinate. This is my x coordinate. So I get negative 2, 8 as my vertex. Once again, I'm looking to see if it's a maximum or a minimum. I look at A. A is negative, so that means it's going to be a maximum. Alright, lastly is my vertex form. So with my vertex form, it's going to be y equals, A goes on the outside, so negative 2 is on the outside, and then I have x. Okay, so it's going to be x minus this value right here. Well, either one of these values is the same thing. So x minus this value right here. So we really need to change the sign here of my x coordinate. So it's going to be x plus 2. So it's x plus 2. So let's kind of go over what we just did here. We're doing like the x minus h thing, right? H was negative 2. So x minus negative 2 is x plus 2. This is being squared, and then plus k is going to be that plus 8. Alright, let's look at my last example. So, A is 3, B is 18, C is 9. Alright, axis of symmetry. So x equals negative b over 2a. So this is negative 18 over 6, which gives me negative 3. So x equals negative 3 is my axis of symmetry. Now I'm going to look at my vertex, so I'm plugging this negative 3 in to my equation right here. So it's going to look like y equals 3 and then negative 3 squared plus 18 times negative 3 plus 9. Alright, let's look closely at this. Remember, order of operations is very important here. So negative 3 squared is going to give me positive 9 times this 3 is going to be 27. So this is 27. Okay, this is 18 times negative 3, it's going to be negative 54. And then plus 9 at the end. Okay, so when we add all of these together, let's see, this is going to give me negative 27 here, plus 9 is going to give me negative 18. So this gives me negative 18, which means that my vertex is at negative 3, negative 18. Remember, this is my x coordinate, that's my y coordinate. Alright, maximum minimum. So A is 3, it's a positive number, so that means that it's a minimum here. Vertex form. Again, we have that y equals, we have A on the outside, that's 3, and then x. Okay, remember it's x minus this, we're flipping that sign to make it plus. So this is x plus 3 here, squared, and then that minus 18, because that's my value of k, that's my y value. Alright, so we've gone through those examples just now. Let's go ahead and look at that bonus question. So this is your bonus question. You're still finding the axis of symmetry, the vertex, to see if it's a maximum or minimum, and putting it in vertex form. Make sure when you put it in vertex form, you are flipping just that x coordinate. Good luck.